Chick Chatters and Sister Wives Watchers. We're back with episode 20.
20.
And I think about it, that to come in the spring trailer really didn't have much of nothing on it, to be real. It was just like...
It didn't. Probably more than half of it was the interview with Suki. What do they call that? It's not a reunion. Sit down, look back, talk back.
All the action words.
Yeah. Half of it was that, which is what we were worried about. And yeah, it doesn't have a whole lot going on. It also doesn't acknowledge Garrison at all.
Except for, well, Janelle, early in this episode, she says that the only one she has in Flagstaff is Garrison, Savannah, and Gabe. And that's the only thing we've even heard of him the entire time.
I've been hearing all these rumors stirring about how they're going to acknowledge what happened to Garrison. And I don't know. I wish they would have, at least, if they're going to do something, I feel like they would have shown it in the coming up. So I wonder if those rumors are not true. I don't know.
I feel like they can't completely bypass it. There's no way.
Right. That's
sensitive to me as well.
I think so too, unless that was what Janelle and Kody and the family asked for. But I also don't see that really happening.
Janelle and Kody are on the same page about anything these days.
True. Speaking of not being on the same page, Janelle is moving out of Flagstaff and she's not telling Kody.
Yeah, she's got the U-Haul loaded. Christine and David are coming down to ride up with her, and Truly. They got Truly with them too.
Yeah, Truly's always coming along. She has to go where Christine goes.
And she needs a break from her mom, so she's going to ride with David in the U-Haul.
I swear, it's probably so much more quiet than this.
She's probably just reading a book in there.
Yeah, David's just bopping along, driving the truck. I think it's kind of cute that David is driving the truck. I mean, I don't think they did this on purpose. I think Janelle really is close with them and needs help probably, but it's sort of like they really are sister wives, you know? I know I made a joke, I think last week, about Janelle basically being married to David because she's, I don't know, someone asked if she's asexual in the Suki talk. And I'm wondering the same thing at this point. If she's just moved beyond that and she just needs a man for driving a truck and stuff.
When Kody comes over, it's to hang pictures and things like that. It seems like she only really needs a man around for the bigger things. I don't blame her. I don't like driving them damn things either. I made Dean drive the U-Haul on the way down.
Yeah, I don't blame her either. I got distracted when I was talking because I saw this box strapped in.
It must have fragile.
It must. I'm not mad at it. I've moved a lot of times. So Kody lets us know that he does know Janelle is moving, even though Janelle didn't tell him that he was moving. And there were rumors that he found this out from production, but he says he found it out from one of his children.
I believe it. I forgot which kid I thought it was. I had a theory.
Yeah, who does he even talk to that's with Janelle? I mean, it would have to be Savannah.
Oh, that's what I thought it was, Savannah, because they seem to still go out on their dates. Remember in the beginning of the season when Janelle says that he picks her up every so many months. So I do think Savannah let slip.
Probably. Her mom is moving. That's a big deal.
Yeah. So maybe that just kind of slipped out in that way. And he was probably like, what do you mean? You know?
I'm sure he had a lot of questions. That was probably so awkward for her.
Oh, yeah. I think once he said it was one of his children, that was the first person I thought of was Savannah, because I don't see him hanging out much with Christine's kids that are still there. I think Gwendolyn's still there.
Mm-hmm.
And I know him and Gabe have issues. Him and Garrison were having issues.
Yeah. And none of his male children are really speaking to him right now, and Janelle is the mother of most of his male children. So.
Yeah, I think most people would think McKelty, because at this time he still had a relationship with McKelty, but he still was seeing Savannah on these dates and stuff. And I don't think McKelty and Kody talk about Janelle enough. I think it's more about their family.
Right. It just makes more sense for Savannah to be the one to talk about that, because that's part of her world. Whereas McKelty, she has her own family now too, and McKelty's mom is Christine, so I think she is more removed, although she probably did also know. So Kody kind of goes along this sort of sad tangent for a minute about how he thinks him and Janelle could have worked things out. And I don't know. I think maybe
without ever once trying to work things out, he wants to sit and
that's what he does. As soon as he loses something, he gains all this nostalgia about what things were and blah, blah, blah. I don't understand how he can't have happy memories and then also at the same time acknowledge that he hasn't made a single happy memory with Janelle in at least 6 years, at least since COVID. Really, probably before then.
Other than take her and they're out to that restaurant that they show this little date later.
Yeah, they did have a moment.
But they just ate. That's it.
Yeah, friend zone. Then we get this baptism baloney.
I love how she walks in like it wasn't already set up for them both to be in there. Like, oh, good, you're both here. Like we're in a 50s sitcom or something.
It was the most awkward little drop in that I've ever seen. She even kind of pranced in. I rewound a couple of times the way she walked in. There's no way she walks like that. It was so unnatural. I get that maybe you're nervous. She's not on camera a lot.
I did like her pants though.
I liked her pants too.
She had cute little flowers on them. They looked really like 70s, really cute. I really liked those. But I just wonder, seeing her one-on-one like this, I just see her biological dad so much in her face.
Yeah.
Like her here.
Yes, yeah, all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, her personality is Robyn, I think, 100%. But
definitely.
Right
here. Yeah. And it's like her dad's face with her hair and her maybe chin or face shape. I don't know. She talks about wanting to get baptized, and I don't know, the initial face that Kody and Robyn have is of terror. It almost sounds as if they don't want her to get baptized, but I also understand that because in their view, when they got baptized, at least for Kody, he got baptized into what he thinks now is a religion that was a cult. Robyn, I think, feels differently about that, but I don't know, religion is a big deal to all of them.
I think when you are religious, it is a big deal. But I'm just the queen of making something out of nothing, though, right? I'm religious and I'm baptized and all that. Although I was baptized as an infant. But if my kids came to me want to be baptized, I'd be like, oh, cool. When? This has to be a whole interrogation. And Aurora's in her 20s, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I see the side of being religious, but at the same time, when you're not religious, it just looks so weird how intensely emotional this was. Like, Kody had this long pause.
I know.
When they were talking about having a relationship with God. And it can be a very personal, spiritual experience. So I get there being a lot of emotion behind that part of the conversation. But her just asking to be baptized into a different church, they're like, does that mean you're going to dedicate your life to a certain church? It's a faith. The faith could move with her if she moves. It doesn't mean it's going to be clinging to this church. But I get that their church was probably more like that. So like you said, they probably have that.
I think they just have some reservations, which I can get. But I think in general, religion is like you explained it, and baptism is the way you explain it. It doesn't mean that you're committed to that church and those people and that pastor and that congregation. It means that you're committed to that religion, whichever that church practices.
And moving in that same way that church would move. This is a non-denominational church. So it's going to be pretty lax, but it's also going to give her a foundation to build a relationship with God. And I think that if that's what she's trying to do, that's great. I just feel it's so strange for her to come up to them like she's a child, like 10 years old. That's what's weird to me about this. None of this is bad to me. Her wanting to be baptized and her finding her relationship with God, those are all wonderful things. It's just the way that they're going about showing her kids being so reliant on this relationship with Kody and Rob. Like they have this parental structure that they're like still able to be 10 years old even though they're 20.
That's only with the girls, really. If you think about Dayton, they haven't talked about him. We haven't seen him in years. And yet these two girls who are full-fledged adults by now are coming and constantly asking permission. I think in this situation, she was ultimately also trying to get Kody to agree to baptize her as well. But if she felt comfortable enough and confident enough to make her own decisions, she would have said, I'm getting baptized. Will you baptize me? Instead of this whole, well, I've been going to church and I really like it and blah, blah. It's just, she sounds like she's a 12-year-old trying to explain to her parents why she wants to buy a new pair of shoes or something.
And it's weird.
Although she's talking seriously about God. I'm not saying I'm not taking her serious, but the presentation is really immature.
Childish, yeah. And what's interesting, I don't know if you saw that clip that I tagged you in this morning. So Gwendolyn talks in this clip, and I'll probably insert it here. But Gwendolyn is talking in this clip about how the boys, mainly Janelle's boys, if you think about it, Christine had more girls than boys. Janelle had more boys than girls. So obviously most of the boys are Janelle's boys. So I think that that's also coincidental as well, because Kody also favored, I think, Janelle. That's my thought.
I agree.
But growing up, the kids, he always favored the boys. And he even said as much throughout the seasons. He said, I can relate to my sons better than my daughters. I spend more time with my sons and my daughters. I remember there being a whole episode about Kody having to take all of his daughters on a date because he spent so much time with his sons compared to them.
Well, he took Aurora just to go get her ears pierced and all of that.
But that's what I'm saying. The contrast between his actual daughters, they've grown up their whole life with Kody really kind of barely being around. So they're all used to it, according to Gwendolyn. Yeah. And now the sons are having that the first time of them not really being around, so now they're reacting poorly to that. And then here you have Robyn's family all intact, all fine, having the relationship with Kody. I mean, minus Dayton, because we don't really know where he's at right now. It's presumed he's even back with his dad. I don't even know. That's just rumors. I haven't seen anything confirming that. But it seems like he's got this solid relationship with Robyn's daughters to the point where he's involved in baptizing them, taking them to get their ears pierced, very invested in what they're doing. And then he's got other kids that he barely even checks on.
At this point, his only remaining family is Robyn's family. And at this point, that seems to be his choice. I understand that there's probably some emotions that happened with everybody because of the divorces and the separation, but Kody's going to have to get it together with his kids. And if he doesn't, then that's his choice now. And his kids are allowed to feel any way they want to feel about him choosing to just have one family. I think any child would feel abandoned and angry.
Don't you think that he's also kept up these relationships with Robyn's kids to kind of like appease her? Because obviously Robyn's kind of like, you have to do this. Just like she was kind of like with the kids back in the day. She'd tell the kids, who is that? Showing pictures of Kody. Kody. No. Who is it? Dad.
Well, I do think Kody and Robyn actually share a value of family and that being important to them. I think Kody does enjoy having young kids around, and I think he does like being in that family atmosphere and having the family experience. I think he does enjoy that, but I think he only enjoys it with Robyn now. He would rather not do it with anyone else, which is why he stopped. So I don't know if he's doing it to appease her. I think this is genuinely where he wants to be with these kids.
To begin with, like he was kind of like, he's got this new diesel model, because at first he did say at one point, I remember, that she wasn't really the most appealing to him because she had extra kids and she was doing it.
Yeah.
So
I think, to be honest, I don't think there's anybody who starts dating someone with kids and isn't, I mean, maybe this is harsh, but isn't kind of hanging out with the kids initially to appease their partner. You don't start dating someone because of their kids. That would be weird. You start dating someone because they're a diesel gene model and then they have kids. So you eventually grow to like them, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Does that mean to say?
No, you're probably right. That's logical.
I've never dated anyone with kids, but I can't imagine being excited about it. But I would deal with it if I liked the person enough. And then I'm sure eventually I would like the kids. I don't know if I would adopt them, but that just depends on the situation.
I guess, yeah. For me, I guess I never wanted to date people with kids, but
yeah.
I hooked up with it. I wouldn't let them get past that. It's hard to look over and see a playpen. It really is. It's sobering.
Sobering. Yeah, that's why you're over there. Anyways, Aurora musters out the question, will you baptize me? And the look on Kody's face, it's good. He's a failed priest. He doesn't know if he's even allowed to step foot in the door of this church. And now he's going to be in some kind of position of authority, and he can't even fathom what that's going to be like again.
Even though he looks so shocked, all he says is he okay with that? She said yes, and he said, then yes. This man jumps at the chance to perform a wedding ceremony,
I know,
baptism now. If he can be involved, even though he is a failed priest, he still likes to practice.
He does like her. That's what I mean. This is excitement and fear.
He's like, oh my gosh, I get to conjure.
This is Beyonce when she won the country album.
This is Sasha Fierce when he becomes the failed priest.
Oh man. They do try to leave us on a cliffhanger here. But yeah, I mean, obviously he says yes, but we do move over to this retirement party. The only reason really that I took this picture is because I have to be honest with you guys. When I saw this head thing,
head.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. It says retired. But it looks like she has a big bud on her head.
Especially from afar.
I know. And it took me a long time to realize that. And I knew it was a retirement party, but I'm like, is this just a joke and they're not going to acknowledge it, or what's going on?
It is really weird though to see a retired crown. Never seen it before, so
yeah, I get a stash maybe, but yeah, I just never saw that. And I think having a pothead crown is hilarious. I think someone should make me one.
I like it.
Especially when you're retiring, right? Like how fitting, just I'm retiring to be a pothead.
Paired with the sash where it just says officially right there.
I know. And she's got this long hippie hair. It's very possible.
She might have just been a really avid user of Kale's pothead brand.
Possible. She's got good hair.
Anyways, have we seen this woman before?
I don't think so. Or maybe.
That's what threw me off. I was like, I'm watching a retirement party for a woman I have zero investment in, but
Yeah, I think, I guess I didn't keep that other picture. I think the reason that we're seeing this really is because they're setting up the storyline of Mary not doing the B&B anymore. And I think that probably did happen organically because this woman is retiring. And I mean, Mary ain't gonna cook for her guests.
Yeah, Mary barely wants to be there. She just wants the home to be around, and she wants people to come inside and then go outside and walk around it. She doesn't want to actually live in it. She just wants to own it.
Yeah. But we're at a retirement party for a pothead. And really, we're only seeing this because it means Mary's not gonna do this.
But seeing how skinny that woman is, I bet she does cook amazing. Usually the best cooks are like super, super skinny because they don't even eat.
Yeah, they just be running around the kitchen like windmills. Yeah.
I know a lot of Italian ladies they'll cook so much and they want everyone else to eat. And they just have to watch everybody eat. It's like they get off on it and then they barely eat themselves all the time. Both my grandparents used to be like that. And it'd be weird. They'd be like, come on, sit down, eat. No. We're still cooking. We'll eat in a minute. And then they just like watch and they just
and then they never do eat. No, you're right. They do a couple of backsies, forthsies to this Janelle trip that she's on. First thing we're gonna do is visit Plot's Plot. And apparently Plot's Plot is a place that you go to leave something behind and move on with your life. Christine starts talking about what she's going to leave there, which is a dream catcher. And she says that she's going to change her dreams now.
It is the place to dump old dreams. It's a cool spot. I don't know if there's only one of those in existence, but
I think there is. I guess I don't know that to be true.
I wonder if anyone's gone there now and learned to take her stuff.
I was wondering about that as well. I think that would be pretty messed up, but I know people can be pretty messed up. I thought it was interesting that Christine shared with us she has nightmares of still being married to Kody.
I don't blame her, though. I feel like that kind of stuff can stick with you. I mean, I have very vivid dreams. I definitely can see myself having nightmares about experience like that for many years to come.
And before they get to Plot's Plot, too, they also talk a little bit about the birthday date that Janelle and Kody went on. Christine likes to entertain an idea, I guess, that Kody was trying to get more from her. I never thought of that, but it's quite possible. I mean, they were married.
I had that same idea because mainly at that time in his confessionals, all he kept talking about was how Janelle only wants one thing.
Yeah, I think Kody just wanted one thing at the moment. I think he was missing Janelle.
That's why I agreed with Christine. I think he did take her out to kind of have a nice little ride with Janelle. He sees Janelle as some kind of toy. I don't know. So weird.
That's why I feel like it's so funny that this asexual conversation comes up somehow in this conversation with Suki. I'm definitely curious to hear if this was just a viewer question or if this was a legitimate question.
I think maybe she's like, you ever going to date again? And she might have just been like, I'm not asexual, okay? Like, she might not have actually been a question. It might have just been something she threw out there because Janelle does talk really weird. Remember, she kept saying, this dogmatic. It's dogmatic.
I know. She loves certain words, definitely.
She has a vocabulary.
But yeah, this is Christine having a good giggle about the idea of Kody getting rejected. Janelle.
They also talk in the scene about Robyn saying that to divorce without getting a spiritual divorce, have to sleep with another man, and they both just thought it was dogmatic and crazy.
Technically, that's a little bit later on.
But then they get to Plot's Plot, right?
Yes.
There are some weird things inside, honestly. Some shrunken Kody heads. What is that?
Does this not look like Kody Brown and or Janelle and Christine? I mean, it really could be either one.
It could be both, but that's definitely them.
Do you think production put these little coconut heads in here?
They definitely knew that looked like Kody. That's why they zoomed in on it.
Maybe production brought those and they were leaving those behind.
Maybe production's also leaving Flagstaff behind.
That crew is leaving Kody behind.
But I don't know why they would have brought the Janelle and Christine head.
I don't know either. Maybe they're leaving the marriage behind.
I think, though, if they would have brought a Robyn head, it would have been too obvious. I don't know. But
these could be here all on their own, but it is a big coincidence that Kody Brown is right here with his gangly hairs.
And they put him right next to a villain. Isn't that Hook from freaking Peter Pan? That's a villain.
I didn't even see him.
He's a villain.
He is a villain, and it is Hook. Is that a treasure map?
And what's funny is that Hook was a villain against children. So it's Kody against his own children.
Is production saying things to us here? So I don't know how many times we have talked about this Dreamcatcher today. I'm so happy to leave it on Plot's Plot because it's gotten brought up a lot. So Christine leaves the Dreamcatcher And Janelle leaves this necklace that Kody made her, which I was actually surprised to learn that that's what she was going to leave behind. But I think it's the perfect thing to leave behind. And she a
loved
little
it.
sad about it.
I'm actually surprised Christine didn't leave her necklace behind with it because she hated that thing.
I'm sure she already threw that thing in the water.
Yeah.
But I did notice when she wrote this, she said it was designed by my partner.
She doesn't call him her husband anymore. They're not legally divorced. She thinks Janelle's just trying to figure out what to make of him.
That's why I noticed that, because I think it's interesting she doesn't just say my ex-partner or whoever. She still refers to him as her partner, which makes me think she still feels married to him. I know she keeps kicking around the idea of getting the spiritual divorce, but Janelle is smarter than she's acting like with this situation. She keeps being so coy, like, oh, I wouldn't know who to call. Well, you've had how many conversations with Mary by now? Ask her who she called. It doesn't make any sense to be so dumb about it. She's much smarter than that.
Maybe she's kind of giving Kody a taste of his own medicine a little bit. Maybe it is done with her, but she kind of likes that Cody's a little bit poking the rope.
I guess.
But this Dreamcatcher thing, I kind of had the feeling that Christine bought it when she got to Flagstaff to move.
That's what she said.
When she showed up, like it wasn't anything she actually put dreams into from when she was.
I understand. Like when they realized they were going to plot, she bought it. You could leave it behind. That's possible. I could see that.
But then they start talking about leaving things behind and how symbolism of all that. And then, of course, we get Mary poking her head in. Spent a year at divorce for me, and I realized physically getting rid of stuff. I'm like, okay, Miss Queen of Destruction, we know.
It feels good.
You're an advocate of getting rid of all things.
Yes. Oh, my Lord.
It's like a slow, torturous release of objects, destruction, blowing things up, bending things, breaking things, cutting things up, mailing them back.
Yes, it's wild. She has gone through a path of destruction in a way. 20 episodes of destruction. I'm surprised Mary wasn't here already at Plot, leaving behind everything.
She probably doesn't have nothing to leave behind. She's destroying
That's true. She destroyed everything.
And if she went in there, she'd be like, all these things should just be destroyed.
Let's just break it all.
Just run over the whole plot.
She'd take that Kody coconut and, oh gosh.
Well, I think that would have triggered her real bad. I'm actually surprised it wasn't brought up. I'm sure Janelle and Christine might have brought it up if they saw it organically. I don't know. It might have been producer play.
It's possible. Once they get back in the car, they have a little conversation. They're always reflecting on what life was like with Kody and all of that. So they talked about what it was like to travel with Kody. And Christine admits about being really needy back then and says she had a lot of needs that were unmet. And so that's why she was probably being difficult. And I do remember a lot of episodes, anytime they traveled, it was always Christine having a mental breakdown and crying. And I mean, there were several times she outright just yelled at the family, not just once during vacation. So she would lose her goddamn mind. Yeah. And then I thought this was really funny. So they went around and, shared their opinions like they like to do about what it was like to travel with Kody. And Mary.
And the allocation of his time, I think, wasn't it? He was talking about his schedule.
Yeah. Well, he said that he had a schedule when they weren't traveling, but when they were traveling, he didn't really keep a schedule.
He was talking about his schedule in general because he talked about how other polygamists were more lax about their schedule and they wouldn't even celebrate birthdays and stuff.
Yes, but I thought it was hilarious how Mary pops in and is like, well, I'm a planner and I want to know what to expect. Mary, you should know exactly what to expect. Kody hasn't been at your house in 20 years. So why in the world, when you're traveling, would he just magically appear into your hotel room? You, out of anyone, should know what to expect. I understand Christine maybe not knowing what to expect, even Janelle, possibly Robyn, although we should also just assume he's going to be there too. I don't think he probably changed his habits all that much just because they were traveling. Like all of a sudden he's going to like Mary.
That part. And even if he's talking about his schedule in general, he stopped going over to Mary's house, it seems like, not long after living in Vegas, right? So
yeah, I think so. I think maybe even before that.
Yeah, didn't she say not long after the legal divorce?
Yeah.
She said like he was coming over for about a year or so after that, but then she stopped letting him watch her change and things got weird, then he stopped coming over. That's what I got out of it.
Was that the only intimacy that they had left or what?
Like, I don't know. He's a little bit of a voyeur.
A little striptease before bed, and then that's it. Call it a day.
Should be able to watch you put on your skivvies.
I know. How bizarre. So actually, speaking of Mary, we get back to Mary for a moment. And this is where she has the shift from focusing on the Airbnb now that her cook is retired to she needs to find a man.
Damn it, Brooke, it's a B&B. She's running that bitch like a hotel.
I mean, She about to run it like a brothel, it sounds like. She needs to find a man.
Me calling it an Airbnb, and now I'm gonna get confused because now Christine has the Airbnb.
Well,
So
did
now
I say Airbnb or just B&B?
we always say Airbnb.
Well, that's just what it is in my brain. It's the same thing. One is on a website and one is privately run, but it's the same thing.
I was wondering though why she doesn't turn it into an Airbnb, but then again, I mean, she's got that big industrial kitchen. It's just too much space probably to give. I don't know. Maybe it would be better.
Well, Airbnbs can be partial rentals. A lot of them aren't anymore because that's not what people like. But Airbnb is a branch off of B&Bs, which have been around since the horse and carriage times.
Yes, but there's usually someone working a front desk and cooking food and shit like that. Not so much in an Airbnb.
Correct. So she's done with that. That was never her dream. She wants to find a man. I don't want to judge her, but at the same time, she kind of talks about not really wanting to do anything in her life because she wants to be available for whatever man comes into her life to do whatever he wants to do. And I just feel like at Mary's age, she should have her own thing that she comes into a relationship with. Maybe that's not appealing to every single man, but I feel like men that she wants to date probably don't want a 50-year-old woman who has nothing going for her.
Makes me wonder if their religion just has it so ingrained in them that they're more reliant on a man than they need to be. Because it's funny to me how both Christine and Mary are so hell-bent once they get out of a marriage with Kody about dating again. You know, they both took a little bit of time to date again. Christine, not so much. But then there's Janelle over here just on the complete polar opposite of that. Like she said in the next 10 years, she'll probably go on a date.
Yeah.
The difference is, I know Mary was still young, but a little bit older when she transitioned to that faith. Robyn grew up in it. Christine obviously grew up in it. And Janelle really didn't grow up in it. She just adopted it later on, it sounds like. Yeah. So maybe that's why she's a lot more independent than the other wives. But yeah, I always found that interesting that Mary and Christine seem more focused on what the needs of Kody or like him in general.
Yeah, or your husband.
I got along with Janelle better because maybe Janelle wasn't so focused on where he was and what he was, you know, Janelle was a lot more about it.
Yeah, that's true. Who knows? But Mary says she wants to be available for whatever a man wants, and she's just gonna wait around and look cute.
Like a statue.
I think she also brought up in this conversation the idea of turning the B&B into an event space. But we'll see. TBD.
What events would be there? Like tea parties? Because, I mean, the furniture is very old.
You'd have like a small wedding there, I'm sure. It'd have to be a very distinct vibe. But you could have a small wedding there. You could maybe have family reunions there. Not everybody would be able to stay. You could probably have parties there. I know Bree on Teen Mom, she likes to rent B&Bs for parties all the time.
Not Lizzie's Heritage Inn for a party.
Yeah, it's got an industrial kitchen. Why wouldn't you have a party there? You could cater your whole thing.
The rocking chairs are like 500 years old.
I don't think it's out of the question if Mary were to actually turn this into an event space for her to do a little bit of updating. But I don't know. I'm not Mary. Who knows?
I don't know. I think she likes to preserve the 1800-ness of it.
Well, there's a way to do that, but also have a rocking chair that is sturdy. Because, yeah, I think you're right. Nothing in there has been touched in decades.
No, I even think her guests are just go right to their rooms.
I think her guests are just ghosts these days. I've never seen a guest.
I don't know. I've always wanted to look up her website or whatever. Like, I don't even know how to book crazy.
So we go back to Janelle moving. Back in the car, they're just driving, and they decide to start, I don't know, politely talking crap about the other sister wives. Is that how you would say it?
Politely.
I think it was kind of funny how they're like, Mary would do really well with somebody who treated her right. I feel like that's such a backhanded, not compliment, but just statement.
Well, they are right. Mary doesn't know any better because she's always been with Kody for the last 30 years. She was 19 when she married Kody. At least Janelle's been in one other marriage. Now Christine has David. So they're kind of seeing that Mary really has only ever had Kody. So it really would do her good to at least see somebody treat someone right. Robyn's also been in another relationship. But
yeah.
They all had other experiences, and now this is Mary's first time dipping into a new experience. She's in her 50s.
No.
This is going to be crazy. That's why we got Amos for a second there.
I wonder if we will see him in the little 6-episode blurb that happens, but we'll see. I'm definitely here for Mary's dating life, especially because she does seem pretty eager to get to it. We come upon the funniest part to me of the whole episode, where Christine brings up this old thing that Robyn used to say about how in their religion you aren't technically divorced until you hook up with the next person.
Mm-hmm.
And Christine, just look at her face. The
dumbest thing she's
thing
ever
I've heard. She has so much joy all the time.
She's very dramatic. Janelle
Again.
is too, though, because even when Christine's trying to just make jokes of it, she's like, I'm kind of getting annoyed. You know, just stop being so serious. Just relax. You know,
I know.
Just making it funny.
Yeah, it's all lighthearted. And honestly, she's not even actually advocating for that. She's actually saying that that's the dumbest thing that she's ever heard. She's really just making a joke that's completely sarcastic.
Well, we didn't see the whole car ride. I don't know. Maybe Christine was like, you should, like probably
She
making
probably is doing both, yeah.
Janelle, she just doesn't like being told, I think, what to do as well.
I think that that's why she's almost against getting a spiritual release, because I think in that case, then people would push her more to date. And so I think she really does want to just hang out in this little limbo. Yeah. Which begs the question, are you asexual? Do you not want to date anymore? That's allowed, but maybe you don't know. I don't know.
When you hear about how intimate her and Kody always were, you would think this would be a shock to her system to be.
That is true.
Someone's lying.
Yeah. There's a lot going on with the twisted webs of sister wives.
But one contradiction after another.
True. Well, speaking of that, they start to get into like more financial conversation, and Janelle brings up the idea, which I think is true, that the sale of her home in Las Vegas went to the purchase of Robyn's home in Flagstaff. And she thought that one day everything was going to kind of come back around to her because that's the way that they were working together for so long. She says she caught on too late to the whole thing, that it was just the Kody and Robyn show after that. I don't know. Kody tries to hop in saying something about he was going to buy her a house. But I remember this being, I know she always has the worst faces, but I don't care to fix it for her. Sorry. He was going to buy her Christine's house.
Yeah, she didn't want it. She was
ugly.
I don't want your broken marriage home.
I wouldn't want it either. Absolutely not. And is that not after the fact? Didn't the RV happen after Christine? Or before Christine left? I mean, I guess they would have purchased it from her.
Well, I think Christine offered it to her to buy first. Didn't she?
You're right. I kind of remember these things.
Yeah. But she didn't want
the twisted web.
He did try to talk her out of that RV. And I do remember Kody being like, let's just get you in a house or whatever.
Yeah.
And Janelle's whole point was to try to get them to build on the land, which was a very bold move of her, a very bold protest move. But she forgot that these people have been avoiding her for months upon months. They can leave her out on the land to dry.
Right. Which they did.
I wonder how many times Robyn went out and looked at that bench when Janelle was living out there. Probably not so much.
I wonder how many times Robyn went out and, hung out with Janelle on the land.
0.
Almost not, never.
0. Yep. And then she just talks to Kody a couple episodes ago, but what about Janelle? What do you mean, what about Janelle?
They only care about Janelle when it's convenient for them. So I don't blame Janelle. She needs to get on with it.
You always want things when they're gone.
I feel like this is the beginning of one of those jokes, but Janelle and Christine walk into a bar.
Mm-hmm.
Look at her face. She's dazzled.
Like, wow. I've never been here before.
I mean, this was kind of cute, I guess. They had a slippery nipple.
It's Janelle's first shot ever. And they kind of went around and all the sister wives got to chime in on whether or not they've had a shot. They talk about how alcohol was just not very prevalent in their religion. And now that they've kind of strayed away from their religion, the more they do that, the more alcohol comes in, which is kind of funny because there's been a lot of rumors about them drinking. But, that's
especially this guy.
Well, I think it's all funny that they're being very technical here. When they get to Robyn, Robyn says, I've never taken a shot in a bar. And it's like, Robyn, you've probably taken shots at your house or something. Like, there ain't no way. You talk about how you were so loose back then in your years. You lived in love.
I mean, to me, she looks like she's lying.
That's what I'm saying. I think she picked her words carefully. I am not taking a shot in a bar.
Yeah.
That's very specific, Robyn. Don't you mean in general?
Right.
You dabbled in the shrooms, Robyn? Have you dabbled in the shrooms? They all just kind of go around and talk about that. And then Kody just spits a shit ton of word salad. I don't even think he answered the damn question. It was more like, oh, I've never taken a shot in a bar, but I've had a sip of whiskey. And I'll be like, oh, that's gasoline. Why does he go off on these weird-ass tangents? It's like he's talking to somebody that's not there.
Because I think he's lying too. I mean, Janelle said right before that Kody enjoys a drink. She didn't put any ifs, ands, or buts here, there, green eggs and ham, none of that around that. She said Kody enjoys a drink, period. And so I think he's just lying. It's such a weird overreaction
they're
to
very
the
careful
deal
to,
of alcohol.
well, they're very careful to say I've not had a shot, right? So Kody thinks just sipping on whiskey isn't a shot because he's not doing this. It's not him drinking.
Yeah, but then he even goes as far as to be like, oh, it tastes bad and you drink this. That's so juvenile. He's too over dramatic about it, which makes me think that he's lying about it in general. Whether you're drinking beer, you're drinking, cordials or wine or whatever, you're still going against your quote unquote religion. And he denies it being a religious thing. If it's not a religious thing that you're not drinking, then why not just say that you have a drink once in a while?
Yeah, I think he's also probably more of a beer drinker, but yeah, I see what you're saying. I think what he probably could have said with more effect would have been, I don't really drink liquor. It's a little rough for me. I prefer something a little bit more mild, like a beer.
Yeah, and then you wouldn't have to act like this weirdo.
I know, he always goes above and beyond for no reason. When it's unnecessary for him to be above and beyond, he just goes off the charts. But when it's necessary, the man's not even around.
Yeah. I just love Mary in this confessional outfit. She's just cute.
She's been looking good. The new Parawan confessionals, which looks like is probably taking place in her little B&B, judging by the furniture and the updatedness of everything in
there. The outdatedness.
Mary's chair is not modern.
I was just going to say, I wonder if production brought this chair.
Probably.
Very clean lines going on there.
They were like, we can't risk you breaking the chair because of its old age. We need to bring you a chair.
We don't want to pay for that. Oh, man. They hang out in this bar. They reflect on their trip and their travels and what it's like to have new experiences. And Janelle is realizing that her life is really going to change. And I think what she says in the end about being uncomfortable and how growth happens, and that's a cool place to live your life. I think that that's very true. So I'm excited to see what she does. I know she's about to experience really significant loss, so that's probably going to put some barriers to that. But I think she's in the right place if she's going to go through a hard time. Certainly being married to Kody, that would not have been good.
No, I think it was a great way to leave it. Although I think this episode was much more boring than the other ones. I think they could have really left it off on the last episode, but here nor there.
That's very true. So they did give us a little snippet of what's coming next spring. I do think it's only going to be like 6 episodes, and maybe 4 of those might be this little look back, talk back Suki interview. I don't know what they call it anymore, but
so now that means they already shot the reunion, and now it's going to be so far away from when the reunion even was. So
I know. We were just catching back up in time, and now we're going to take a whole bunch of time off just for a month or 2 months of content. I don't know, but
love for us to be behind schedule.
Right. It gives us a little bit of time to focus on the shows that we are going to be covering for the next month or two. If you want to tune in, we are going to be covering Teen Mom. We're going to be covering, I think, a good amount of the new season of The Kardashians. And it's possible that we'll be going live a couple of times about Love is Blind. It just depends on our schedule. So stick around, check out our videos for that. But coming next spring, we'll have 6 Sister Wives coming back. And also, if you watch our Gypsy Rose episodes, she'll be coming back in the spring, I think around March as well. So coming next spring, Mary is going to discuss her relationship with Robyn, which I'm interested to hear how she feels about Robyn these days, because it can't be good and I want to hear the tea. Robyn and Kody are also going to go on that dinner, which they teased us like it feels like a year ago at this point. And now I have to wait until springtime, until the snow melts outside to see the stupid date. And it's probably not even going to be anything, but that's when we'll see it. Yeah. And then that's also when we're going to see Mary and Janelle have the talk on Coyote Pass about what's going to happen with that. I don't even have any hope at this point that anything's going to come out of that conversation. And Kody is going to continue to talk about how he's not trying to rip them off, which I think is, again, an interesting choice of words. And then we get the reunion Suki conversation. We do have some good snippets from that. It looks like Cody's going to have a small breakdown, which is pretty common these days in those conversations. Janelle's going to deny being asexual. Mary's going to talk about wanting all kinds of different types of attraction. Janelle, I think, was talking about the kind of person she might want to date and says she doesn't want a prima donna. Robyn wishes that everyone could focus on their own relationships, which I think is so dumb because they don't have relationships with Kody anymore. So this is just a played out phrase. Just find another.
On a show to talk about each other and Kody and all that. Like, that's what you're on the show for. You're all focused on other relationships.
Yeah, well, and as far as relationships, Robyn's the only one that Kody is in a relationship with now. And so if they're going to comment on that, I think that that's fair.
Well, all they ever say about her, too, is they deserve each other. Let's let them be together.
Janelle and Christine, you can tell that they're being a little sarcastic or kind of talking crap, but they're always polite. I've never heard them be like, yeah, they can both rot in hell. They're just like, yeah, have him, go, be happy. Just Leave us alone.
Just because they're being polite doesn't mean that they're still not saying the same damn thing. So Robyn is probably feeling away.
I agree. I don't think they're being genuine, but I do think they're being polite. Anyways, then we have this drama that comes up with Christine. I guess she thinks that maybe something might have happened between Kody and Robyn pre-marital because of their engagement photos, which I know that you have it, so I'm sure you'll throw it up for us.
I found it on a Reddit post, but yeah, there's a picture on Robyn's wall of them just all snuggled up on the car. It does look a little bit intimate. I'm actually surprised they had engagement photos. Like, I was like, where have these engagement photos been? Why have we never even spoken about it? Why was it not an episode in the first season of getting
all the photos that they show us? They just have the same 7 photos on rotation. Why haven't we seen these?
Maybe because of the nature of the photos, it might maybe look like he's in love with Robyn.
Maybe they're private because they're so intimate.
Maybe, but Christine's seen them. Well, they are on Robyn's wall, I should say. They were.
Yeah.
They're all up on the car. Yeah.
On the BMW. Yeah, so I think Suki asks him about that, and that's when Kody kind of flips his lid. So, I mean, we'll see. It's going to be a while until we see, but we'll see. So join us again in the spring when the snow melts, and we'll see.
All right, we're going to see.
We shall see.
Keep your eyes open, Chick Chat, so you can see. To reduce, reuse, recycle, Rihanna. Like, follow, share, repeat.
Press the share button. Copy the link.
Everything's out of order, but as the sister wives. All right. Have a good day. Goodbye.
Goodbye.